So, everybody, a very warm welcome to everybody who joins us here today in Kiel, and hello everybody who's joining us online on the screens on the YouTube channel. As I think everybody of you knows, Schleswig-Holstein is quite a huge federal state. It's 188 kilometers from north to south. And if people want to meet, connect, share ideas, they can meet physically, drive by car or train from East Coast to West Coast, which is quite tricky, as everybody knows, or let's say exciting. They can have a phone call, meet online, or very soon they can meet and work in a very new network, the DLC. It is being started today, and that's the reason you are here today. Initialized and funded by the Ministry of Education and the EU, the DLC is being started today, and of course supported by many smart people here in Schleswig-Holstein who we are going to meet later on as well. And why do we need the DLC? How does this network is going to work? Welcome to the Minister of Education and many other things, Mrs. Karin Prien. Too many special tasks in this ministry. Mrs. Karin Prien, very welcome.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Gilbert-Morin, liebe Julia Carstens, sehr geehrte Frau Dr. Bendig, dear DLC makers, ladies and gentlemen present here in the room, but also those watching at the screens. A very, very warm welcome to the flagship event DLC meets EU. I'm, of course, excited, but I'm especially very pleased that for the first time we can present the individual DLC networks to the public today. Ladies and gentlemen, among other things, you can look forward today to watching several short films, videos on the individual networks. I'm also very pleased to be able to welcome you, Monsieur Gilbert-Morin, from the European Commission. I just heard this is your first time in Kiel and in Schleswig-Holstein, so we are very happy to have you here. We are extremely grateful for your support, of course, also for the financial support from Brussels. This will help us to expand the flagship into a huge fleet. And I can promise you, Mr. Gilbert-Morin, that we here in the land between the seas know all about flagships and fleets and launches. So allow me, please, to take you on a brief excursion into seafaring. And this is not without context, because just like digitization, the invention of boats is also regarded as a milestone in the development of humanity. People commanded the rivers, lakes, and seas with paddles, oars, and sails. They overcame distances which previously appeared to be insurmountable. They brought cultures together, thus ensuring that the world would become linked. So you could almost say that seafaring is the great-great-grandmother of digital networking. And it's precisely this principle of networking which forms the basic idea behind every development, whether AI or human brain, whether seafaring or research alliances. Networking always plays a crucial role, be it the networking of computing units or neurons, the networking of ideas, people, or goods. The digital learning campus also thrives on networking. It is a flagship for new forms of learning, new forms of collaboration, new forms of innovation, and new forms of networking between business, science, and society. I'm personally very impressed by the DLC concept because it works consistently across both the educational and the industrial sectors. I would like to emphasize 3 special features of DLC. First, there is a focus on the topic. Contrary to many other educational initiatives and learning platforms, we in Schleswig-Holstein have chosen a topic to focus on clearly, namely future skills. To deal with the question of what future skills actually are, we have chosen the matrix for 21st century skills used by the Stifterverband. This means that apart from digital and technological skills, we also address social and transformational skills. Difficult word. Second, there is a cross-educational and cross-industry approach. We have realized that we must not think in classic parameters, hierarchies, and institutions when dealing with future skills. Instead, every day and every week, we must all learn about what is currently happening in the field of artificial intelligence, which AI tools there are, and how prompting works. So here the teacher sits next to the pupil, the employee next to the boss, and the minister next to the citizen who would also like to find out more about these topics. And at the Digital Learning Campus, it is even possible for a pupil to become a certified trainer and instruct and moderate the minister, the teachers and employees or other participants. And third, there is the fact that we have also created completely new constellations on the supplier side. All of you attending this event can go into more depth here in the second part of the event, but to give you just one example. In the DLC network, the West Coast University of Applied Sciences, Fachhochschule Westküste, is collaborating with the Adult Education Center in Heide, as well as with Open Campus, an association which has established itself as an innovative education provider. These are 3 publicly funded partners. In addition, there are 12 associated partners, particularly from the business sector. These include, for example, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Heide Regional Development Agency, but also such companies as Northvolt, which has already taken an interest in the Digital Learning Campus. We even have 7 publicly funded partners and 42 associated partners in the DLC network for Lübeck. This means that for the first time, we have actually succeeded in forming broad alliances from business, science, and the social sector, all of whom are highly motivated to work together and launch something completely new. Naturally, pupils, for example, will find it exciting to select offers from universities or their partners, doing so completely independently and out of their own interest or as a planned activity from school. This will initially result in learning networks and then completely new collaborative networks in DLC. Participants can and should network with one another and develop projects together. In practice, this means that schools, universities, adult education centers, and other educational institutions in the tertiary sector will connect with one another in completely new ways, together with companies and other players from the business sector. Thus, one of the DLC key guidelines is learning and collaboration. And another of its guidelines is learning and recruiting. With these diverse groups in DLC, we will also create opportunities to meet and give chance for companies to attract people in their sector of their company. We know from our DLC study that specialized employees, innovations, and new networks are precisely those aspects that make our companies particularly interesting in the region. In the end, every small and medium-sized company can profit from this. But industry in Schleswig-Holstein can also profit, and we are more than slightly proud of the letters of intent from companies as Dräger, ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, and, as already mentioned, Northvolt for the DLC. Ladies and gentlemen, we are breaking new ground with the DLC, or To stay with my metaphor, our flagship is sailing on a new sea. So I am all the more pleased about the enthusiasm which the DLC concept has sparked in this region, and that so many of our future DLC makers are here as guests today. Together, we will invest no less than 38 million euros over the next 5 years. We have a total of 30 publicly funded projects at 4 different sites, and these are partners from education and society due to the state rules regarding aid. Companies are not eligible for funding. We already have over 150 associated partners, many of whom are from the business sector. We have integrated all universities of our federal states. We already have almost 20 schools as associated partners and even a vocational school as a funded partner on board. Incidentally, great interest in the DLC has already been expressed from other regions in the country. Some of them wish to become involved with DLC even if they cannot receive public funding. This means that the DLC has already become a small social movement in the state. Many thanks to all of the partners for participating and flying the flag so prominently here today. I know that the EFRE funding is not easy. We appreciate your commitment all the more. Many thanks also to the Ministry of Economic Affairs. Dear Julia, welcome to you as well. With the Digital Learner Campus, we have founded a place in the state's economic program, which is managed by the Ministry of Economic Affairs. My thanks also go to the Science Center in Kiel here. Our project office has found a home here in the 4th floor of the Science Center. This major event would have been unthinkable without the dedication of your employees. Special thanks also go to the partners of the Central DLC Hub. Together with our project office, supported by the state, the DLC Hub will play a leading role. The Europa-Universität Flensburg as the leading partner responsible for coordinating learning opportunities, educating trainers and quality assurance, among other things. The Technische Hochschule Lübeck responsible for setting up a high-end learning and booking platform. And the Leibniz Institute for Science and Mathematics and Education, renowned through Germany, which will in particular organize the accompanying research. And I would like to mention that with separate funds from the state, we have created 2 new professorships for educational research into AI, which we have closely linked to the DLC. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we are not yet as far as we thought we would be in terms of public funding. But behind the scenes, we are doing everything possible to ensure that the funds will flow as quickly as possible. Our investment bank confirmed this once again in a meeting last week. Thank you for that so much. I'm particularly grateful that the future partners of the DLC have already shown such commitment to this event. Before the break, you will receive a brief presentation of the funded networks, and as I already have mentioned, short films will also be shown. And after the break, everyone here in person today can get a first-hand impression of what exactly has been planned at the different learning sites by visiting the information tables in the World Café. Personally, I am very much looking forward to the DLC's next steps. I hope everyone here today, both in person as well as those watching at the screens, enjoy themselves. Let us work together to turn the DLC flagship into a huge fleet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, networking is nothing that happens within the borders of a federal state, either by ship, just to stick to your picture, or in the digital way. Working with digital projects, learning how to handle it, developing such projects. This is really, it's a common task. It does not happen at one university or one town. We have to do this together, and that's why the EU supports this project. And yes, accidentally, 2024 is the European Year of Future Skills, and I think this is the best moment to start such a project. Thank you very much for your support, and welcome Nicolas Gibert-Morin here in Kiel.
I haven't said anything yet. First of all, I need to take off my glasses, so not to self go to the optician, because I will speak, but also read some of the things that I've written. So first of all, dear Minister Prien, thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much for your inspiring and speech. Dear Secretary Carsten, ladies and gentlemen, here today and also online. I'm very pleased to be here today. I read DLC meets the EU, so I guess that would be me. So I'm very happy to meet DLC in return. I was prepared to speak in German, but I was told that this part of the event was going to be in English, so umso besser für mich und auch für Sie. This is my first time ever in Schleswig-Holstein, and this is also one of my first visits since I took over the position of head of the Austria, Germany and Netherlands unit in the Commission's Director General for Regional Policy. So I should say from the start that I should not take any credit for this project. This is the credit of my predecessor and also of my colleague, Dr. Pardo Lopez, who is the colleague responsible for Schleswig-Holstein. As I said, this is my first time ever in Schleswig-Holstein, but this was definitely worth the trip. The long trip, I should say. This morning, I had the chance to visit one project with State Secretary Carstens, and this is the largest project supported by the European Regional Development Fund in the 14-20 period. This project is called this Zentrum für vernetzte Sensorsysteme. And this was a very interesting project indeed, because we visited some labs and we were shown very concrete applications of these sensor technique, which range from medicine to energy transition or maritime research. And I'm very pleased to discover yet another project supported by the ERDF in your region or in your land this afternoon. Like Minister Prien, I really have to thank the promoters of the DLC project. When I say I'm aware of the energies, I think I underestimate all the energies needed to pull it off. And I also underestimate, surely, the many hurdles and bumps that you met on the road. So I would really like to applaud all of you who made this possible. The DLC and you, Minister, presented the main aspects of the project, so I'm not going to do that. But this project is considered as an operation of strategic importance for Schleswig-Holstein, but not only for Schleswig-Holstein and beyond. But I have to say, when I first learned about this operation, I just asked myself, Well, at first sight, it looks like an operation which would be funded from the European Social Fund, ESF plus, knowing that the ESF supports learning and teaching. And as it happens, I was, a few years ago, responsible for the ESF in Italy, so I should know. And it did not look like a project to be funded by the ERDF. As you know, the ERDF focuses on investment in tangible assets, equipment, infrastructure, businesses, climate or environmental protection. And I understand from my colleagues who took part in the negotiations on the program, on the Schleswig-Holstein program, that it took some convincing and some back and forth with other Commission services to convince them that this project could indeed be supported by the ERDF. And essentially, we had to explain that this combination of physical learning spaces and virtual ones, together with a tutor and collaboration system, is not about developing a digitization course, but rather about setting up an integrated digitalization enabling space. The truth is, this integrated approach, including the eligibility of staff costs for the setting up of the tutor and collaboration system, is quite novel for the ERDF. I referred earlier to the fact that this is an operation of strategic importance. And as you may know, each ERDF program has to identify a number of such operations of strategic importance, depending on the scope, financial volume, or contribution to the program's objective. And this project was selected as one of the operations of strategic importance for your land. And I can confirm to you that the DLC is in many respects an operation of strategic importance. Firstly, this operation demonstrates that the ERDF can directly address the needs of citizens of all groups. The DLC has developed and made available a learning offer on the platform which will allow citizens to engage in digital learning. And as such, I can tell you this DLC is quite unique in Europe. Secondly, the objectives pursued by the DLC fit in really well with the objectives pursued at EU level of building an economy for the future and of enhancing people's skills from all ages. The young, the old, and I should say the middle-aged people like myself. So enhancing people's skills from all ages, but also from all walks of life, including professionals, pupils and students, aficionados, and retired people. It is also a perfect example of the initiatives the Commission is seeking to promote as part of the European Years of Skills. Minister Prien, I'm pretty sure, and you mentioned that in your speech as well, that this center will also help Schleswig-Holstein secure its economic future. And although Schleswig-Holstein as such is not in a development trap or Entwicklungsfalle, your land is faced with numerous challenges, including low population density, net out-migration from many of its inland rural areas, and also low presence of industries. Therefore, Schleswig-Holstein will need to mobilize all its resources, including the European ones, to harness talent. And this is where DLC comes into play. The DLC, for me, essentially is about creating opportunities. It is about opening doors, physical and virtual ones. And it makes sure no one is left behind. And finally, it creates a community made up of organizations which you are representing here today. I would like to tell you that we will make sure that this initiative is known beyond the borders of Schleswig-Holstein, because this is a remarkable example of what cohesion policy is about. And please rest assured that I will continue to follow this project from Brussels. I really hope to be back here soon because, well, the hospitality has been incredible. So thank you for that. So before I come back, so in der Zwischenzeit, möchte ich mich nochmal für die Einladung ganz herzlich bedanken und Ihnen viel Erfolg mit diesem Vorhaben wünschen. Danke.
Thank you very much. Yes, as we've already heard, Schleswig-Holstein and the EU invest a lot of money in the DLC, not because politicians think VR glasses are funny, not only because they think so. We've heard it. Digitalization is changing economy and society in many ways, and I think it's high time to get prepared for that. And which role will the DLC play? What are the plans? Let's have a compact view on that.
In Schleswig-Holstein entsteht etwas Spannendes. Der Digital Learning Campus definiert Bildung und Lernen völlig neu. Sowohl im Privaten als auch an der Schnittstelle zur Wirtschaft. Er bietet allen Menschen die Möglichkeit, sich mit digitalen Themen zu beschäftigen.
Der Digital Learning Campus ist inspiriert von der Situation, in der wir alle leben. Und wir alle wissen, dass wir in Sachen Digitalität und Zukunftskompetenzen einen Gang hochschalten müssen. Und genau dafür bietet der Digital Learning Campus super Angebote, sowohl online als auch in Präsenz, und zwar in den Städten und in der Region, wo wir uns auskennen.
Mit Fördermitteln der Europäischen Union und des Landes Schleswig-Holstein entstehen Lernorte, an denen man sich informieren und zusammen mit anderen aktiv werden kann, um sich selbst oder innovative Dienstleistungen oder Produkte neu zu erfinden.
Wir haben total spannende Techniken der Visualisierung, die wir in unserem Alltag immer wieder verwenden. Das ist zum Beispiel Virtual Reality und Augmented Reality.
Die Welt hat sich verändert und entwickelt sich weiter. Unter anderem durch das Thema künstliche Intelligenz. Der Digital Learning Campus wird allen dabei helfen, Teil dieser Entwicklung zu sein.
Wir werden ganz neue Technologien, ganz neue Prozesse haben, die auf einmal durch digitale Möglichkeiten entstehen.
Besonders wichtig beim Digital Learning Campus ist eine gute Vernetzung. Dafür sorgt der DLC Entwicklungshub.
Wir sind die zentrale Schaltinstanz, die zentrale Schaltstelle für alle Aktivitäten der Lernorte in Schleswig-Holstein und auch für alle diejenigen, die sich daran interessieren, am Digital Learning Campus als Nutzerinnen und Nutzer teilzunehmen.
Neben dem Entwicklungshub gibt es das DLC-Projektbüro, in dem alles Grundlegende organisiert wird.
Wir im Projektbüro versuchen, den kürzesten Draht in alle möglichen Richtungen zu haben. Das sind die Lernorte, das sind die Hochschulen, die Unternehmen, die zivilgesellschaftlichen Organisationen, aber auch das Virtuelle.
Alles, was man über den Digital Learning Campus wissen muss, findet man online.
Wir entwickeln an der TH Lübeck eine Plattform, die die verschiedenen Lernangebote online und in Präsenz sichtbar macht, zugänglich macht. Und diese Plattform soll so gestaltet sein, dass sie die individuellen Interessen und Bedürfnisse der Zielgruppen abholt und damit auch direkt Spaß am Lernen vermittelt.
Grundsätzlich bietet die digitale Welt ein großes Potenzial der Barrierefreiheit, sodass alle Menschen unabhängig von Benachteiligung, Behinderung auf Materialien auf dieser digitalen Lernplattform zugreifen können.
Der Digital Learning Campus wird an den Lernorten möglichst gut sichtbar sein. Trotzdem ist es eine Herausforderung, dass alle auf die Angebote aufmerksam werden.
Also das entscheidende Moment liegt sicherlich darin, den DLC und die Angebote prominent zu bewerben. Es ist einfach wichtig, dass wir alle Medien, die uns zur Verfügung stehen, bemühen, um letztlich dieses Angebot auch an die unterschiedlichen Zielgruppen heranzutreten.
Unter dem Motto Future Skills für Schleswig-Holstein schafft der Digital Learning Campus ein neues Bildungsökosystem für alle Bürgerinnen und Bürger des Landes.
Wir wollen miteinander ins Gespräch, aber auch ins Spielen kommen. Also wir hoffen, dass wir innovative Formate entwickeln mit allen Teilen der Gesellschaft, die Lust haben mitzumachen.
Lerne, studiere, arbeite so, wie du bist. Wir versuchen, allen ein Angebot zu machen, um sich in dieser komplexen Gegenwartsgesellschaft und Gegenwartswirtschaft orientieren zu können.
Lerne wozu und wie du Lust hast. Digital Learning Campus Schleswig-Holstein.
Yes, great plans that are now becoming reality. And I like that sentence, learn, study, work as you are. That means that everybody is included. And there's no business in the world that can exist any longer without digitization, and especially without people who soaked in and live future skills from school days on. And I think Sabine Bendig knows more about this topic, yes, more than anybody of us. She worked for big, important tech industries, for example, SAP and Microsoft. And born in Kiel, she obviously still cares for her home, for her home state, hometown, so that we are not left behind with regard to digitization. We are looking forward to your keynote now.
Thank you. Well, so much has been said already, right? So let me think about what I can say. First of all, Minister Prien, Monsieur Gilbert-Morin, Ms. Carsten. Sorry, Carstens. And my apologies, Paul Lopez. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Mr. Lemke, thanks for the invitation. Thanks for reaching out. It's not only an honor to be here, it's a pleasure to be here because, I have a special connection both to the topic and actually to the city. So as mentioned, I was born in Kiel. So it's kind of like this is something that's bringing me back to my old hometown I've left long ago. But it's great to be back. And well, there could be a bit more sunshine, but other than that, nothing to complain about. But why do I care about the topic? First of all, I've spent my entire career in the tech industry. So I've worked for many tech companies. I started off at a company called Nixdorf Computer way back in '85. Some people in my age group might remember them. Some people not my age group might vaguely recall there's this thing called the ATM that Nixdorf used to do that's now called Winko Nixdorf. It was actually a lot more that Nixdorf used to do, but hey, times move on. And actually, when you look at the tech industry, there's one thing that you learn, which is the only currency that you have is innovation. You have to keep moving ahead. You have to keep moving on. And that means you have to learn. You have to learn all the time. So I'm being asked very often, so what are the skills, like the most important skills you need to be successful in life, in your job, in your career? And honestly, when I look at it, learning is certainly one of them, constant learning. Coupled with curiosity, just wanting to know, wanting to understand, wanting to learn from others. The other one is resilience. And both of them together is really what you need to be successful. And it's what we all need to be successful, also as companies. And when you basically look at that, I think offers like the Digital Learning Campus really show a lot of importance for all of us, because you should never stop learning. You should always continue to learn no matter what you do, no matter whether you are in a professional career or whether you've decided to, be at home and raise kids. There's always things to learn, no matter whether you've retired. It's important to learn and continue to develop. And why is it so important specifically when it comes to digital technologies? Well, in that time since I joined, back in '85. Back in '85, by the way, people thought it was really strange if people in the office would have a computer on their desk. That was really considered super unusual. There was a time when people still were debating whether anybody would need something like a personal computer. Why would anybody invest that money? Well, I think we've seen that digital technologies have gone a long way. It was mentioned before, I don't think there's any single industry that could still operate without digital technologies. Not a single industry. Not even things like mining, where you would think it's, a quite, how should I say this, physical industry, right? But even they couldn't operate anymore without digital technologies. So digital technologies are everywhere. And if you look at how they've changed our lives, well, They've changed them a lot, which means it's really important that we all understand how to actually leverage and use them. And actually that we understand what the opportunities are, and actually also what are some of the limitations. And why is it even more important to teach people about this right now and have people engage and learn about this right now? Well, when we look at digital technologies and what happens with AI, AI has certainly burst on the scene as something that's set to, again, massively change our lives and the ways we work. Why is it? Well, let's first maybe look at what AI does and how it does it. The first one is, it's actually a major useful thing, as there's all those little personal assistants that we all kind of like got used to. There's this little intelligence services that are in so many software pieces that we've all gotten used to. And the way they work is actually, well, they're based on massive amounts of data. We're training the models start to predict things, they assign probability to outcomes, and then they suggest things. In a certain way, when you look at that, AI is a bit of a misnomer, artificial intelligence, because it's not, it kind of suggests it works like the human brain works. It does not. It's very different. And that's something we all need to know, because it's a hugely helpful productivity tool. It's a wonderful supporting tool. It's something that really changes, as I said, our lives, the way we live and the way we work. But it doesn't operate like the human brain, so you need to understand what it actually does, that it works on data, which means there could be biases to the data, which means there could be some wrong outcomes if the models aren't trained correctly. And, of course, it assigns probabilities to actually, suggest, what potentially is the right thing, which means it's a great partner. It should never just take over, which is, by the way, why the entire industry always talks about human in the loop as one of the core concepts about leveraging AI. And the concept of human in the loop requires that humans actually understand, can engage. And by the way, we all, as a country that's, always had a lot of pride in our engineering tradition, I think we all should also really understand that we need to double down on not just being consumers of these technologies, not being just users, but actually wanting to be makers and creators, not only of the technology, but actually of many, many things you can do faster, better, in a different way by leveraging those technologies, by leveraging digital technologies. And that is the piece that's so important. Maybe also a little word around, my last position was actually being the Chief Operations and People Officer at SAP. And when we look at the concept of learning, and you look at the concept of skilling, upskilling, reskilling, I can definitely tell you it's become not only a boardroom topic, it's become a CEO topic, because of the massive change that digital technologies have brought, because of the massive change of business models that so many companies and so many industries have to go through, and because of the talent scarcity. So if you look at all those factors together, what it means is you all have to engage on how we bring everyone and as many talent pools as possible into a position to continue to work successfully in this new world. And that means upskilling and reskilling on digital technologies has become a core topic. And it's something, companies can't just leave to universities and schools. Schools and universities won't be doing the job for us because they are basically, a certain point in time. There are a couple of years where they teach people. And the concept of lifelong learning that honestly many kind of talked about, really honest, how many of us have really lived it, truly has to come to life. And in order to bring it to life, we all have to partner. We have to come together as societies, administrations, as schools and universities, as companies, and we all have to play a role. And by the way, one of the most important things about it is it's got to be fun as well. If lifelong learning turns into one of those terrible things everybody has to do, we're not going to be successful. That's, by the way, one thing that a lot of companies have seen. When you look at what we've done, for instance, on AI, as SAP, for instance, we've devised a massive, training program, because even being a tech company, we have to make sure that new concepts are actually understood and shared by everyone. And by the way, we're not talking just about developers. We're talking about everyone in the company, right? But then, of course, what you find is people are really busy doing their work. Sure, not a surprise, right? So when do they learn? And how do they learn? And that comes back to, you got to make it easy. You got to figure out how to make it fun. And you got to help people to collaborate, because that's the other piece that you'll find out. A lot of what you need to learn, you learn much easier if you kind of like work together with others. And there's one more thing which is really important as well, which is why I really like the Digital Learning Campus, with that appeal of really sort of going to everybody, bringing people from all walks of life in to collaborate, to interact. Diverse teams. Diversity is a super important concept in this new world. Going back to how AI operates, for instance, when you look at sort of the importance of data, you used to talk about digital technologies as something that kind of like is based on pieces of software, algorithms, process automation. AI changes that world. AI changes that dynamic. AI actually means data is the core piece of everything. The quality of the data, and the quality how the model has been trained, and the quality of how you actually sort of work on identifying and correcting for model drift, meaning, the model kind of like slowly goes sort of sideways or sort of the wrong way, right? And that means data is very important. And when you look at data and identifying bias in the data, that's actually where you need diverse teams. Because there's no other way to truly see this, to truly understand this, which means diversity is an important part of getting to the right quality. The other piece on diversity I should definitely mention as well is when you look at where we are today on the talent scarcity. Just to give you a few stats, we probably talk about 75% of all companies globally reporting they have massive issues getting access to talent. We're talking about, I think 2022 was the year where the global talent shortage in terms of open positions, people looking for talent, was actually reaching a 16-year high, which means everybody's out there looking for talent, even thinking about applying all sorts of productivity tools. It's kind of really fascinating when you look at it. People are very worried about sort of AI, for instance, being again sort of a job destroyer. Actually, AI won't be a job destroyer. We actually have the other issue. We have a talent scarcity in the market, but it will be a massive changer of jobs. It will be a massive changer of jobs. And of course, we need to be able to actually get access to all talent pools, and that we actually reskill them. And the task at hand globally, by the way, is pretty big. When you talk about the stats, I think the World Economic Forum talked about the assumption that we probably have about 100 million workers globally that will have to change their jobs because AI changes the landscape. They will not lose, there's opportunity to be employed, but there will be jobs that will go away. When we talk about the reskilling challenge globally, we probably talk about 1 billion people that we have to reskill, upskill worldwide until 2030, 6 years. So initiatives like this are really, really important. They're really, really important for companies. They're really, really important for all of us, for our success. And they also give lots of great opportunity. There was actually an interesting piece, Minister Prien, that he talked about around, for instance, the pupil being able to get the certification to be a teacher. There's actually a concept at work that's actually very powerful, which is called reverse mentoring, which actually is exactly that concept, that you have people who are way more junior than you, really fresh into the job, coming in, and actually giving you their perspective, asking you some of the questions that you probably haven't thought about, adding additional perspective. So it's kind of really interesting that you have to have those opportunities. It gives you a lot of additional perspective, it helps, and therefore, I can only say it's a great concept. And it was great that you actually called it out, that it's really not the age group, it's not specific skills, it's actually about everybody being able to get together and collaborate and share knowledge learn, hopefully have fun. Hopefully, that was the other piece I loved about the trailer. It's going to be fun as well. There's so many great things you can do with those technologies. So, and fun, again, is part of, making it easier to learn. Two more things about diversity. First one, as we talk about gender diversity a lot, it's actually timely today. It's, believe it or not, Equal Pay Day. I just noticed this morning, which means when we talk about fixing the pay gap between women and men, I think it's very important that we get women, that we get girls to engage, specifically when it comes to technical opportunities, specifically when it comes to digital technologies. And today we lose them. We lose them somewhere in secondary school. It's really interesting when you look at it. In my Microsoft times, we used to do some base education in elementary schools, where we basically, were trying to, show young kids how it is to interact with a robot. It was kind of like this little robot, it was called Turtle, that actually does, it paints for you, depending on the commands. It kind of like changes the colors and can do shapes. So it's a very simple thing. It's meant to help kids to understand how you actually abstract a problem to actually tell a machine how to go about it. And actually, it's kind of like basic teaching of problem solving. And there, actually, what you saw is it was really 50-50, girls, boys, and both equally engaged, maybe the girls even a bit more. And then, you go to later stages, like class 7 to 12, 7 to 13. Secondary school, and all of a sudden, it's only the guys. It's only the boys, not enough of the girls. So we're kind of losing them. And some of the research suggests it's because many of the girls kind of like wonder what the heck they're supposed to do with it. Kind of like what is sort of the real life thing you can do with it? How do you apply this in a meaningful way, what you're learning? And I think if you look at something like the DLC, there's an opportunity to make that visible, to make that tangible, to give that opportunity to girls. And again, women have to be at the table for this technology. Again, it's based on data. The data quality is going to be so important. We will need diverse teams. And again, I do think we want to fix the pay gap. And by the way, we need to make sure that we're educating as many people as possible, coming back to the talent scarcity, so we can actually come back and actually get access to all talent pools that are out there. And by the way, when we talk about talent pools, we also talk about, for instance, women in part-time positions, or actually having decided to stop work because they cared for their families. We're talking about people with special challenges, which is the other piece. There was a talk about accessibility. Those are also important talents. By now, it's turned. It's like for many, many years, I think people, some people were looked at kind of like, some people with not having the right skills or having special challenges were looked at as specific challenges for the job market. I think now we're actually in a position where we can turn this around into there is opportunity, and there's opportunity for everyone if we manage to get everyone onto that level and getting everyone sort of interested and engaged specifically in digital technologies. And again, talent, location of talent, capabilities that are there have become, by the way, a factor how companies decide where they set up operations. People now look at, do I have access to talent, to the right talent in specific locations? It has become a factor that's really important. So with that, I can only say I'm a huge fan. I was very happy to be here. And kudos to what's been achieved so far. And this is just the kickoff. This is the beginning. This is the launch, right? I can only say, great to continue to watch this. I will cheer for you. And very much looking forward to seeing future successes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the applause supports it. I think when I heard your words, I feel like everything's possible here in Schleswig-Holstein. What do you think? Thank you very much. You said it already, learning should be fun. Let's get it started. Now we want to meet those people who make the DLC become reality, who create those talents that are so desperately needed everywhere in the business world. People who start projects all over in Schleswig-Holstein, organized in so-called learning space consortiums. Let's start with the first one. It's a Eilish at DLC in Flensburg.
Wir sind der Flensburger Lernort im Rahmen des DLC. Wir setzen auf das Megathema Bildung. Der Lernort wird durch 3 Partnereinrichtungen getragen: die Europa-Universität Flensburg, die Hochschule Flensburg und die Nordakademie Hochschule der Wirtschaft Elmshorn.
Hier im FabLab Ideenreich bieten wir Schülerinnen und Schülern einen niederschwelligen Zugang zu digitalen Tools und Technologien.
Wir hier an der Nordakademie in Elmshorn vertreten den südlichen Teil Schleswig-Holsteins im DLC-Projekt. Unser Ziel ist es, die Wirtschaft und die Hochschule zu verbinden.
Wir nutzen einen spielerischen Zugang zur KI. Zum Beispiel kann man mit kleinen Robotern in eine digitale Erlebniswelt eintauchen. Unser Ziel ist es, Lehrkräfte in die Lage zu versetzen, Schülerinnen und Schüler zu kompetenten und kritischen Mitgestaltern unserer gemeinsamen KI-Zukunft zu machen.
Yes, and this consortium is presented, you've seen him in the film already, by Professor Christian Filk from Europa-Universität Flensburg. Could you explain a bit more what is the core of your approach?
Yeah, Kurt Cobain once sang, "Come as you are." The Flensburg learning space actively embraces the idea learning as you are. Our joint project consists of Europa University Flensburg, the Flensburg University of Applied Sciences, and the Nordakademie Hochschule der Wirtschaft is making an offer for everyone in Schleswig-Holstein. We focus on application domains of accessible artificial intelligence literacy and computational thinking. By adopting participatory and emancipatory approaches, digital transformation and artificial intelligence can be experienced in a practical and hands-on way through a wide variety of opportunities for interaction and innovative learning methods and creative environments. We provide skills in the digital world, enable people to deal critical with new digital technology, including artificial intelligence. We focus particularly on school education and teacher training. Finally, the Flensburg Learning Space encourages different focus groups, especially in education and in the economy of Schleswig-Holstein.
Mrs. Bendig just said we are losing girls already in elementary school, in secondary school. Why do you think that school education is a very important access?
Because I think technical training and further educational courses all often focus on a very specific functional requirement. And it is very easy to overlook how important it is to develop future skills as early as possible, especially in formal education. And the Flensburg Learning Space has dedicated its work to this.
Thank you very much so far.
Thank you very much.
Now let's have a look on the next consortium. It's Campus.net.
Wir sind der Lernort Campus für nachhaltige Entwicklung und Transformation. Wir wollen gemeinsam eine Allianz bilden, die eben wirkungs- und nachhaltigkeitsorientierte Lernangebote schafft, die innovativ sind und die uns zukunftsfähig machen im Land Schleswig-Holstein insgesamt. Also zum Lernort gehört die Fachhochschule Westküste, gehört die Volkshochschule Heide und Open Campus Schleswig-Holstein.
Wir wollen alle Menschen fit machen im Bereich der Zukunftstechnologien. Dafür schaffen wir vor allem niedrigschwellige, kostenfreie Angebote. Hier sollen sich alle Altersgruppen, alle Kulturen und Geschlechter begegnen und virtuelle Realität und auch künstliche Intelligenz erleben, sie kennenlernen, ausprobieren und Berührungsängste abbauen.
Wir von Open Campus wollen Ost- und Westküste miteinander zusammenbringen. Wir bieten Kurse in den Bereichen künstliche Intelligenz und Future Skills an und dazu großartige Möglichkeiten, Projekte zu machen mit Unternehmen aus der Region, um die Welt ein kleines bisschen besser zu machen.
From the West Coast to Kiel, Professor Tim Barster von der Fachhochschule Westküste. Welcome.
Hi everybody, I think West Coast University of Applied Sciences sounds great. When I'm abroad, I'm always asked California and I say no, Dithmarschen. But anyway, actually, you may know the West Coast. It's a beautiful area, it's a rural area. We are the leading producer of cabbage, Kohl, and we've got the beautiful beaches of St. Peter-Ording. If you're in Schleswig-Holstein, you should definitely go there. But what we're witnessing at the moment is that the West Coast is going through a tremendous change. We've got the renewable energy, and now this renewable energy has attracted industry settlements. For example, the battery production of Northvolt and also the evolving hydrogen industry. And this will create huge opportunities for the West Coast, but actually all these jobs that come up are in a time of skill shortage. We've learned about it. And we from Campus Net say we must guide and advise West Coast through this transformation process. So who are we? We are West Coast University of Applied Sciences, California, no, Dithmarschen. We are also Fachhochschule Heide, who are here also, and Open Campus, and we're really happy to be in this trio. We're supported by a network of local organizations and also local companies and one Swedish company. What's our goal? Our idea is to foster lifelong learning in the West Coast area. So we are in a time of change, digitization and decarbonization, and we need lifelong learning and reskilling. We've learned about it, and we want to foster that at the West Coast. Second is we want to enable companies to reach their innovative potential by establishing inter-company projects. So companies work together on mutual problems, and they solve them together, and we spread this knowledge throughout the economy. And last not least, we want to support the development of the West Coast by providing the population with opportunities to learn about renewable energies and energy transition. So we say these industry settlements can only be successful if the population supports it. And this is one thing that's really important to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next consortium that we'd like to introduce is the Digital Learning Cultures Art Lab.
Wir sind der Lernort der Muthesius Kunsthochschule in Kiel und unser Lernort heißt Digital Learning Cultures Art Lab. Wir möchten es den Menschen in Schleswig-Holstein ermöglichen, gemeinsam im digitalen Raum zu entwerfen. Wir haben total spannende Techniken der Visualisierung, die wir immer wieder verwenden. Das ist zum Beispiel Virtual Reality und Augmented Reality.
Gerade als Kunsthochschule beschäftigen wir uns sehr mit neuen Medientechnologien und wie das auch die Kommunikation verändert. Und wir freuen uns sehr, dass wir mit dem Digital Learning Campus auch eine breite Öffentlichkeit in diesen Diskurs mit einbeziehen können.
Zusammen mit den Landesmuseen Schleswig-Holstein und einem interessierten Publikum wollen wir die digitale Wende gestalten. Wir wollen so neue Erfahrungsräume schaffen und Geschichten neu erzählen.
Yes. Welcome to Dr. Arne Zerbst, Muthesius University of Fine Arts. Yes.
Hi. Hi, Europe.
California and Dithmarschen. Why do you think are public places, for example, museums, important for the success of digitization?
Well, the very important thing is that we have a space for people, a space for all the citizens in the cities, but in all the landscapes, if you can say so. Well, the old Greek have this idea of agora, of a space within the city to come together. And I think that's so important that we can, with the digital tools, we can come together in the whole world and from the whole world. And so we have this possibility to come together, to join each other's emotions, to think together, and to have not less than democratic ideas and ideals we have to defend. And so this is a kind of things we need to have to be democratic and to have democracy defended.
And who do you address? I think not only art students.
No, everybody. So that's very short to answer. Everybody is welcome. So, and now I have 2 minutes, I thought.
Or 3, if you like to.
No, 2 minutes, short and clear. So, one of the big challenges of our future is shaping digital transformation. And one of the big tools is the complex of art and design. As a University of Arts and Design, we are good, well, perhaps we are really excellent in making visible. We want to share this magic of art and design. We create images that inspire. As Hegel writes, once the realm of imagination has been revolutionized, the reality cannot hold. We, the Muthesius, can contribute to a new consciousness, a new idealism. And we all need this kind of new mindset. At the same time, we want to communicate democratic values. That's the question, more or less. And that's why we go in the middle of society and launch the Tiny Design School and open the Muthesius Media Lab and the digital citizen space to the people. All this is our commitment to democratic education. It's digital learning for all of us. That's great, amazing, wonderful. Let's do it together.
Thank you. Let's come to the next great and wonderful consortium, EDIT.
EDIT ist ein Kieler Lernort, an dem viele Institutionen beteiligt sind. Wir sind hier an der Uni-Bibliothek und wir fanden den Ansatz sehr spannend, Quellen und alte Bestände, die wir haben, zu vernetzen und in die Öffentlichkeit aufzubringen.
Wir als Duale Hochschule Schleswig-Holstein freuen uns im Rahmen des Konsortiums, unser Netzwerk und unsere Erfahrungen im Umgang mit moderner Technologie einbringen zu können.
Forschung zugänglicher machen, das möchten wir durch eine digitale Weiterbildung erreichen. Für Menschen mit Behinderungen, aber grundsätzlich für alle BürgerInnen, damit sie an Forschung teilhaben können.
Wir sind hier in der Seeburg, das ist ein Gebäude der CAU direkt an der Kiellinie. Und hier im Glasanbau soll ein Co-Learning Space entstehen. Und unten an einer noch leerstehenden Bootshalle soll eine Ausstellung für nachhaltige Mobilität entstehen.
Welcome to Michael Sachtler from the Duale Hochschule.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
There are 8 different learning spaces all around the city. What do they offer?
They offer a big variety of several things, several technologies, and the large community we have is a perfect example to learn together, to learn from different companies, from different universities. So that's the big approach and the big challenge for us to see and to provide all the good ideas from the 8 partners to the citizens of Kiel.
Could you give an example for one special learning space and what they are doing there?
The one learning space we provide is a learning space where we want to include virtual and augmented reality in our learning formats at the university, and later on we want to provide all these formats to the other partners in the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we move to Lübeck. Lübeck lernt Zukunft.
Der Lübecker Lernort für die DLC heißt Lübeck lernt Zukunft. Unter diesem Titel haben wir uns mit 7 Projektpartnern zusammengetan. Wir haben hier in Lübeck was ganz Großes vor. Wir wollen Bürgerinnen und Bürger mit neuen Technologien vertraut machen, mit verschiedenen Stationen zu Smart City, mit einer 3D-Kuppel, mit Stationen, wo man sich über einen Escape Room informieren und den bauen kann. Wir werden einen Lernort mitten in der Stadt haben, erhoffen uns zufällige Personen, die Interesse an Technik haben, reinspazieren in den Lernort Lübeck, sich informieren können, um dann sich später vielleicht mit neuen Technologien viel, viel intensiver zu beschäftigen. Und darauf freue ich mich ganz besonders, dass wir dort mit Schulen, Hochschulen und Bürgerinnen und Bürgern zusammenkommen.
Yes, let's welcome Dr. Fabian Bade from the Musikhochschule Lübeck.
Hallo.
Who are your partners in Lübeck and what makes them so special?
We brought together all higher education institutions in Lübeck, the Technical University, the Music University, schools, an extracurricular education team from Bad Oldesloe. So we also reach out to the countryside a little bit. And we have 30 associated partners. So we try to get the maximum synergy effects in our consortium structure. Yeah. I think that's very special for Lübeck, what we could get out of it.
Why is it important to offer your projects in the middle of the city and give access to really anybody?
We think it's absolutely crucial to supply all citizens alike, no matter what age, what educational background or whatsoever, with a very easy access. And what is this easy access for us? It's, on the one hand, it's the physical space right in the heart of the city. Makes it easy just to walk in, and that was a big chance. And on the other hand, this easy access also will be visible in the concept of the easy accessible learning opportunities we have. And these opportunities, again, are not only addressing the technical skills or competences, but we also use the cultural capital we have in our team. So, as I said, we have the Technical University, the Music University, and we use broadcast programs, digital music creation, and bring this all together. So we hope to address as many people, as many citizens as possible. That's what we try to achieve, and we're happy to start soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we come to the last consortium, C Digital.
Wir sind der Lernort C Digital, der sich aus 6 Partnern zusammensetzt, aus Hochschulen, Volkshochschulen, aus Medieneinrichtungen und Stiftungen. Wir konzentrieren uns vor allen Dingen auf das Thema digitale Transformation im Sinne von Heranführung von Zielgruppen an Digitalisierungsthemen wie Augmented Reality, Virtual Reality und Robotik. Wir haben eine Zusammensetzung aus sowohl analogen Vor-Ort-Veranstaltungen als auch digitalen Lernformaten. Alle Angebote sind auf Praxisnähe und Interaktivität ausgerichtet. Der DLC ist insofern aus unserer Sicht sehr wichtig, weil es jetzt darum geht, die Weichen zu stellen für die weitere zukünftige Entwicklung im Bereich Digitalisierung und vor allen Dingen die Befähigung unterschiedlichster Zielgruppen mit diesem Thema weiter umzugehen, daraus zu lernen und daraus auch für sich und für das Leben und auch für die Arbeit entsprechenden Nutzen zu ziehen.
C Digital is presented by Markus Schack, Fachhochschule Kiel.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. My name is Markus Schack. I'm from the University of Applied Sciences Kiel, and I'm pleased to give you a brief overview of our consortium. The aim of C Digital project is to establish an innovative regional educational network in Schleswig-Holstein that focuses on digital and AI technologies. It integrates different learning venues and educational formats to provide free access to educational opportunities for a broad target group, including pupils, students, founders, teachers, scientists, and the general population. The network brings together 6 major educational institutions in the region: Kiel University of Applied Sciences, University of Applied Sciences for Administration and Services, Landesverband der Volkshochschulen Schleswig-Holsteins, I don't know how to translate this in English, so Municipal Educational Center. The Adult Educational Centers stand for Lifelong Learning and Public Service. Offener Kanal Schleswig-Holstein as a public accessible TV and radio station. Photo and Medienforum Kiel, Center for Education and Training, with a focus on the use and application of AR, VR, as well as AI technologies. Heinrich Böll Foundation Schleswig-Holstein supports broad social dialogue and knowledge transfer. The intention is to develop open and innovative event formats. The following priorities will be set. First, development of a regional training network in Schleswig-Holstein focused on digital and AI technologies. Second, the project integrates different learning venues and educational formats to create diverse learning opportunities. Third, the project offers free access to education in the field of digital and AI technologies. Fourth, it aims to develop a cross-educational innovation landscape through open and innovative event formats. And last, the project contributes to knowledge and technology transfer by supporting social information transfer and topic-oriented collaboration. We are very much looking forward to working with all the partners and are happy to make our contribution to achieving the goals of the Digital Learning Campus. We hope that we will be able to launch the project soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is what we do hope as well. Are there any questions online? Hello, everybody online. You are heard. You can ask questions. Yes, and all the consortiums need a bit of connection and a bit of organization. And this job is delivered by the DLC Entwicklungshub, Englisch.
Der DLC Entwicklungshub ist die Schnittstelle für alle Protagonistinnen und Protagonisten im Digital Learning Campus Schleswig-Holstein. Wir sind die zentrale Schaltinstanz, die zentrale Schaltstelle für alle Aktivitäten der Lernorte in Schleswig-Holstein und auch für alle diejenigen, die sich daran interessieren, am Digital Learning Campus als Nutzerinnen und Nutzer teilzunehmen.
Wir im Projektbüro versuchen, den kürzesten Draht in alle möglichen Richtungen zu haben. Das sind die Lernorte, das sind die Hochschulen, die Unternehmen, die zivilgesellschaftlichen Organisationen, aber auch das Virtuelle. Wir müssen die Zukunftsthemen und auch Zukunftstechnologien gemeinsam bearbeiten und wir müssen gemeinsam lernen, was wir in Zukunft wissen müssen. Und da arbeiten Hochschulen, Unternehmen, zivilgesellschaftliche Organisationen, unfassbar viele Engagierte dran, dass diese Lernangebote entstehen.
Yes, let's talk about it with Christian Filk again.
Hello again.
What's the major challenge of the Entwicklungshub, except the name itself?
Well, the 6 joint projects represent their concepts and their programs to us in a very impressive manner. Coordinative and conceptual support is needed to turn these distributed learning locations in Schleswig-Holstein into a successful learning network for the benefit of all. And this is where the DLC Development Hub comes into play. This institution forms the central representative interface of the DLC. It is made up of the Europa University Flensburg, the Technical University of Applied Sciences Lübeck, and the Leibniz Institute for Science and Mathematical Education at Kiel University. We manage and connect the DLC learning spaces and associated partners. We provide the technical infrastructure and the central DLC platform. And our continuous monitoring improves the quality management of the entire DLC. After all, the DLC Development Hub makes an important contribution to the success of the DLC ecosystem for innovative, future-oriented learning.
And how can the transfer of future skills in the DLC be maintained also in the long term, in the future?
Well, I think that's a question of great strategic importance for all participants. The DLC joint project is trying to establish sustainable, special public-private partnerships and collaborations within the 5-year project period, and I see great potential here. However, at the end of the day, the federal state of Schleswig-Holstein has also a responsibility to support the DLC with further public funding, especially in the longer run. Thank you very much.
It's all about, and if there are cities in Schleswig-Holstein, groups of smart people, universities, who'd like to join the DLC as well, is it possible?
Yes, it is come in contact with us, and then we try to figure out how we could work together, collaborate, and go more into detail.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, I was asked to switch to German. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Now, es gibt jetzt eine kleine Pause von 45 Minuten. Und danach startet dann das World Café und da möchten sich dann natürlich alle Konsortien, jetzt geht's schon los mit meinem Denglisch, nochmal vorstellen. Sie können dann ins Gespräch kommen, sich austauschen und damit nicht alle zu dem gleichen Tisch toben, direkt hier zum Beispiel zu Eilish, haben Sie auf Ihren Namensschildchen, Sie haben zu Beginn kleine bunte Punkte bekommen. Das ist nicht die Osterdekoration, das ist Ihr Startpunkt. Und dann können Sie gleich nach der Pause, nämlich um 15:45 Uhr, dann erstmal zu dem Punkt, zu dem Tisch starten, der Ihnen quasi vorgegeben wurde und dann alle 10 Minuten wird munter durchgewechselt. Da können Sie sich dann frei überlegen, wo Sie hingehen. Aber bitte auch nicht wieder alle zum Gleichen. Und dann starten wir dann um 17 Uhr, auch auf Deutsch, zu unserer Abschlussrunde hier vor Ort. Ich danke Ihnen sehr fürs Zuhören, für Ihr Interesse und natürlich für Ihr Mitwirken hier auf der Bühne. Vielen lieben Dank.